everybody, this is Nuoance, and just last week I went to a wedding with my friends. It was a VR wedding for my very good friends, and here are some pictures that I took. I didn't take many because I was actually one of the people that was standing on the sides. I was a bridesmaid, so couldn't really be snapping a lot of photos because I'm supposed to just stand there and look pretty. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cute, and I mean, that's pretty much it that I have to say about it. We actually, after the wedding, ended up having a portal put down where everyone could play mini games as kind of like the after party. I wasn't really there much for that part. I did rejoin for some murder later on, but after the wedding I kind of bounced and did my own thing for a little bit. Still a lot of fun. But that has absolutely nothing to do with my topic for today. Today I'm going to be talking about something that is once again very common in the virtual world, and it is known as phantom sense. But that has really nothing to do about the topic we're talking about today. Today I'm going to be talking about something that is very commonly known in the VR world, known as phantom sense. And if you came here not knowing what phantom sense is, welcome, happy to have you, and let's go on for a ride of knowledge. To start out, we must answer the question of what is phantom sense. Now, to explain phantom sense, we actually have to go back a little bit, before VR, before computers, before even electricity, to something known as phantom pain, or phantom limb syndrome. Now, if you don't know what that is, it is, long and short, when somebody who has lost a limb or has lost an eye, has lost a very important part of their body, has the phantom sense that their body part is still there, and they feel pain through it. A long time ago, we thought this was a psychological problem. And actually, until I started doing some research about this video, I thought it was just a psychological problem. And this brought up a very interesting thing to me, is it turns out this is not only psychological. There's also another kind, which is more common, which is from your brain and your spinal cord nerves acting all wacky, because they were connected to those nerves that were connected to whichever limb was removed. So now that disconnect is there, they're like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Panic, panic, panic! And you feel pain. Just like any regular pain, there are certain triggers that could make this pain worse. You could have things like being cold or hot, taking a shower, swimming, smoking, a whole plethora of things you could do to make this phantom pain flare up. And while researchers have found that it is more of a actual nerve-related pain rather than a psychological one, there are still cases of people having psychologically based phantom pains. You may be wondering why I'd start with that when this is the virtual world, and for the most part, these are, not our limbs. It wouldn't matter if my avatar had cat ears or a tail or wings, because I don't actually have those. I cannot simulate the feeling from those parts, compared to the real world, where you actually do have your arm and your leg or your eye that gets removed. Phantom sense, also known as phantom touch to some people, is the sensation of feeling something on your avatar even though you're not actually being touched. It's the feeling of falling when you jump off the side of a building in virtual reality even though you are not actually falling. This is a very common thing that a lot of people on this game have, and there's a lot of debate on the people who don't have it, if it's real or not. I have more friends that don't have it than do have it, personally. I know a lot of people that do have it, but in my closer knit friend group, most of them cannot feel anything through phantom sensations. With virtual technology now, we are able to pull ourselves into this game and use these avatars as an extension of ourselves. Now we aren't just Dave, the 38-year-old man who works at Target, and that's pretty much the most interesting thing about him besides his love for video games. Now he can be Wolf Slayer 48, a wolf girl with curves for days and a tail that goes swish, swish, swish. And you just feel better about yourself sometimes. And good on you for that. But this conversation isn't about that. It's about the feeling of when you get connected to this avatar, you start becoming it. I wouldn't call suffer, but I do experience phantom sensations and the phantom touch. And this avatar, I don't know if you've noticed, I've now had 3 different outfits for it, is one that I see myself as. I look at this and I say, this is me. It's not, this is my avatar, this is me. Because in virtual reality, this is the only person some of my closest friends have seen. And it's the same the other way around, where that's how some of my friends look like to me. When I see a friend, I don't see the person behind the camera. I see them standing right in front of me. And there are people that don't have that connection, I guess. They have that divide where they see someone and they're like, that's not really what they look like at all. You start getting used to seeing female avatars have male deep voices, and retrospectively, male avatars with high-pitched hello voices on them. And it's perfectly fine. You don't even question it. It becomes a norm. And we are going to be talking a lot about things that are norms for this game. But now that you have kind of an idea of what Phantom Sense and Phantom Touch are, we're going to start delving into it a little bit deeper. So if you ended up skipping the whole beginning, welcome. Still talking about Phantom Touch, so hey. Now, I've always been a big fan of psychology. I've always thought it is one of the most interesting things that our world has to offer for me, because we have billions and billions of people in this world, and all of them have complete different views. There are so many different ideals, so many different stories, so many different experiences in our world that shape and mold a human to be different, act different, and do different in different situations. And it's the same for this whole series, is talking about Phantom Sense and Phantom Touch. I would love to see an actual study. The only study I found was a connection to Phantom Sense in VR and amputees. They would give amputees, simply enough to my understanding, they'd give them a virtual headset with all of the limbs, including the ones that they lost, and they actually had to stop a few of them from trying to do something that they couldn't. So if they had an arm missing and they tried to reach out for a cup, they had to be like, hey, you don't really have the arm. Or if they had legs, or they didn't have legs, and then in VR they had the legs, they'd try to move over and stand up out of the bed, and they'd be like, wait! But that study was specifically for amputees and not for people who do still have all of their limbs and are just playing VR recreationally instead of as a study to reduce phantom pain. It is very popularly believed, like I said previously, that the people who do not have Phantom Sense think that people who do have Phantom Sense are lying, faking, or overreacting. And while I do believe that there are definitely people out there who overreact, and I'll go into that a little bit later, trust me, it is an actual thing. As I said before, I do have Phantom Sense to a degree. I am able to, for the most part, turn it on and off in a way. So if somebody is brushing down my arm, like when we're getting hugs, I don't mind. But if it's some creepy dude or creepy girl, I'm just like, no, immediately the immersion's broken for me and I can't feel anything. The important thing to note that at least for me, and once again, I can't speak for everyone else, but at least for me, it is exactly what it's called, a phantom sense. It is like a ghost of a whisper. It is like a small buzz, like TV static. It is not, if I touched my arm, I could actually feel the indent of my skin being touched. And the coolest thing is I believe a big part of this phantom sense can also be related to immersion. Ironically enough, in my opinion, VRCHAT is one of the most immersive and least immersive games you can get for VR. You question why? Simply enough, well, yes, there's a lot you can do, and everything's more realistic because you're talking with other people and dealing with other people instead of playing a game with NPCs who are just like, stop, you violated the law. They're actual people being like, yo, what's up, dude? You're not being very cool. I don't know if people say that. I'm not cool. Anyway, that brings a lot for immersion. But on the other side of that, Because drinking games, or needing to use the restroom, or needing to get something for a dare, that what have you, whatever reason you need to take your headset off, breaks that immersion. Yet, for VRCHAT, it's become kind of a norm to have this weird 50-50 where it still can be immersive even when you have the headset off. You are still in the game without being in the game. Once again, I am no doctor, I am no expert, and I will never pretend to be an expert. As I said before, I have an interest in psychological ideals, so I do have some theories on how phantom sense works on people. And I believe at the end of the day, there are 3, maybe 4 if you want to count the last one, core ideals on how phantom sense is achieved through different kinds of people. The first kind of people that I know are the people who get phantom sense at the start when they start playing VR. These are the people that when they get the headset and they start getting involved, they are immediately put into this world and they immediately start feeling those weird feelings. People will come up to them and touch their face and they'll be like, stop, what? And you see this a lot on Reddit as well, of people posting in the VRCHAT Reddit subs, hey, I hugged a friend and I actually felt like I could feel it for a second. What is that? It's because my hypothesis personally is the fact that because everything is so new to you, you don't have time to identify that this isn't your body. And so when you see something coming at you, you instinctively think it's actually coming at you. Unfortunately, with this group, most of the time, as they play the game longer, they start losing their sense. Because now they're getting used to the game, they're getting used to this body, they're being able to make that barrier again, and this is just a game, this isn't real. So, with that barrier, their entire sense of immersion is gone now, in a way. They know that they're playing a game, they still enjoy the game, it doesn't matter, it's just the fact that they have gotten so used to the game that they are unable to really feel anything anymore because it's not new or different. They are not this body anymore to them. And there are a lot of people I have seen like this. It is, out of all of them, the least popular one that I've seen, honestly, but I have seen quite a few of my friends talk about how they started out feeling things and as time went on, they just lost feeling altogether. And this is the hypothesis I had for them. The next one I have is pretty much the exact opposite of the first one. Instead, when you start out, you don't feel anything. You're like, what is this phantom sense people are talking about? This is stupid. I don't understand. You're playing the game though, you're having fun. Maybe you enjoy it so much you decide to invest in a full body set. Ooh, and you just keep playing. Then one day, all of a sudden, somebody pokes your nose or something and you're like, whoa. What the heck? How did I feel that? And that is what happened to me. Not the booping the nose thing so much. I was actually just in full body hanging out with my friends, and I was laying down and I stretched my legs out and it went into the mirror. And it felt kind of like coolish, watery wisps. And I was like, oh, what the? Okay. Like I said, it wasn't overpowering, but the fact that weird, like, staticky coolness went over my legs freaked me out. Ever since then, I've had light sensations, and the one consistent will always be mirrors. If I'm leaning over and I'm about to hit my head on a mirror, I will instinctively, like, fall backwards. I don't know why. Mirrors are the things that get me the worst. I feel like my hypothesis for these kinds of people are, once again, instead of it feeling more immersed when you first come in because you're not used to it, you're not able to differentiate your body from the avatar, it's the exact opposite. You put up a barrier because this isn't you. These aren't your fingers. These aren't your legs. This isn't your hair. And so it's not you. But as you play the game longer, as you start getting more involved with the community, making new friends, doing new things, having more parties, you start realizing that this is you. And you start enjoying it more and more. And in a way, it's kind of like a possession kind of deal where you start sinking into your avatar and you start being like, yeah, this is me. This is who I am. And bam, your immersion is there. You are now able to, in a way, kind of feel these phantom senses. And that's pretty cool. I mean, once again, I do know people this way. I was one of them, and they don't like it. They wish it wouldn't happen. because there are people out there who, when they realize you have phantom sense, will be like boop, 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 boop. And that's why I'm lucky, because I do still have the ability to make that divide where I can be like, this is just a game, it's my avatar, I'm not dealing with it. With these kinds of people, the controllers now feel like your hands. It's completely natural. If I want to finger point, I finger point. In my Oculus, when I used to have it, you had to not actually, I can't remember which control it was, but you had to do something special for one of the controls. You couldn't actually do what the hand gesture was, but it became natural doing that. For example, during Christmas, I have a photo somewhere. I'm not gonna look it up because it's a hideous photo, but Christmas last year, when we were all taking a family photo, everyone was doing the peace sign. For me, my peace sign was finger point in VR. So for the Christmas photo, I'm sitting here like this. And I don't notice till after the photo was posted on Facebook, and I was just like, oh, I'm so stupid. And that's a very common thing. You start getting used to the gestures. Everything becomes natural. Your headset becomes naturally like a part of your head. It's not just a headset anymore. It's an extension of you. You stop feeling it bearing down on you. Now, honestly, my one complaint, my index is really heavy for my neck. So if I wear it for extended periods of time when not laying down, my neck's like, kill me. So that's why I'm usually laying down if you see me, in game, is because this thing hurts my neck. Another group of people that I want to put into this same category are people who are under the influence of whatever substance they are on. I know somebody who can sense things even when they're sober, but when they do get under the influence of marijuana, they are now hypersensitive. And they cannot turn it off per se. There are people who, when they get drunk, same thing. They're just like, oh my gosh, I can feel that. Stop. And I feel like, because once again, that line is heavily blurred because you're intoxicated. That difference between the VR world and the real world has shifted a little bit, has thinned down. And a big thing that I want to point out right now is that doesn't make a person crazy. Because I do hear this a lot from my friends who don't have phantom sense, and they will like to say in a way that sometimes people act a little crazy with phantom sense. And I do agree to an extent. Once again, I don't fully know what levels of sense we can get, but there are people who do go really out of hand with their responses. There are also people who don't feel anything and still respond. Once again, like I said, I can turn it off, and if I'm not really wanting to feel anything, I'm just like, I'll respond to it, haha funny, but I don't actually feel it. And that's also to say that even though I do have phantom sense, it's not all over the place. It's only in certain areas. The technical final one that I have is a much more serious one compared to the other two, and this is the one that I always say, if you know somebody who has phantom sense thanks to this particular reason, don't mess with it. Leave it alone. Unless they specifically give you permission, don't even play, because it's just kind of a crapped up thing to do. And it is a trauma-based sense. This is another one that I have. When I was young, I was strangled by a dentist and a nurse. I've been strangled twice in my life, 2 separate occasions. Both, I think, around the same couple of year gap. I can't remember. But because of that, my neck is hypersensitive. This is why I cannot play Phasmophobia in VR. And if I do play it in VR, I am hiding in the truck. The death sequence of Phasmophobia triggers my PTSD of being strangled because of the hands reaching around and pulling inwards. It makes me think I'm going to get strangled again. And honestly, I don't know what'll happen in that case. I've never had a relapse in terms of being, having something around my neck. All of my friends have been super respectful. The worst I've gotten is maybe like a jab in the neck, and that honestly doesn't affect me as much because once again, it's not strangulation. That is the one thing my friends do know they are not messing around with, because I will easily lose my crap on them. I also do know somebody who has PTSD because they were stabbed when they were younger. So in VR, if somebody comes up with a knife, and when we play murder mystery, this happens a lot, and makes the motion of stabbing him, he has a flashback. And we have to take him to a room where nobody else is around to give him a chance to calm down because he is freaking out. He has to take his headset off. He needs to get some water. He needs to relax because his was a lot more traumatic than mine in a way. Like, once again, if I get strangled, I'm going to back off and lose my crap, but he actually has to step away. And that's why I say, do not mess with these kinds of phantom senses. If somebody says that they feel something because of a trauma-related issue, be respectful, be kind, please, and just don't mess with it, unless they say it's okay. We now have the final one, which, once again, I don't know if I counted on the list or not, but I wanted to bring it up because everyone asked me if I was going to bring it up or not, and that is desktop phantom sense. And this is a weird one for me because at first, when I was writing this, I was like, you can't have desktop phantom sense. That's silly. But then I started thinking about something. When we play video games, even not in VR, and our character gets hurt, we go, ouch. We ourselves weren't hurt, and we know we weren't hurt, but we still go, ouch. When we're driving on Mario Kart and we turn our bodies with the car. We're not actually driving, but we still do that. So I feel like this has something to do with this desktop phantom sense. And I want to call this relation to the placebo effect. Now, if you don't know what the placebo is, I can't remember exactly, so it's going off of my memory, so I'm apologizing now if it's incorrect. But the long and short was doctors took two groups. One group that got medicine for whatever was wrong, and one group that didn't get medicine. They got fake medicine. They got an empty pill. Both groups took the medicine, and for some reason, both groups said they felt better. Obviously not everyone, some people did, some people didn't, whatever. The ending thing was that still, the placebo effect case, the people who didn't have an actual pill, were also saying they were getting better. And they showed signs of getting better too. Placebo is simply your brain tricking yourself into thinking things are going to be whatever you think they're gonna be. That is why they say fake it till you make it. Because the placebo effect, in theory, you'll start acting that way. Or, once again, if you think you're getting sick, you may actually get sick because now you believe you're getting sick in your brain's like, let's get sick, and then you get sick. It's a very fascinating thing, and I love it. I don't even know. It's an amazing study. I highly recommend looking it up if you have the time. It's great. And I feel like this placebo effect can work on both desktops and people who do act like they feel a lot more than they really do. Because there are people in this game, it's no secret, that want to have phantom sense, and they try so hard. And so I feel like there are some people that do overcompensate that fact. So when they have nothing, you poke them and they're just like, oh, I felt it, bro. Oh. And once again, I think it could be related to being a placebo. They wanted to feel it so badly that they've now tricked their brain into actually feeling it. I want to talk about two methods that I see a lot of people use in VR to train people to get phantom sense. The first one is the most popular one. It has to do with peripherals, and I am going to be posting links of studies that I did read for this video, as well as a study for this exact method that was done on real people. I think it was by BBC. Simply enough, what you do is you put your arm out. You look away so you can only see your arm and your peripheral. As your friend is brushing their finger down your arm, you brush the exact same way through your peripherals. You do that up and down, and you make that link with your body in VR. This goes back to the whole immersion thing that I had previously. If you have immersion in the game, you are going to get some kind of sense for it. This is what the training exercise achieves to do. And that's cool, I guess. I mean, if you want it, go ahead and try it. Need a friend? I've just told you how to do it. Have fun. I don't really care. I'm not your mom. The second option, though, is one that I feel is a bit more controversial on personal standpoints, and this also has to kind of do with the placebo effect again, and that is hypnotism. There are people in this game that say that they are hypnotists that will actually take you and hypnotize you to get phantom sense. And while I do believe hypnotism can be real, it is, once again, a communication, a relationship between the hypnotizer and the hypnotizee to kind of work together to get that desired goal. And I don't think the people who say that they're official hypnotists, professional hypnotists on this game really are. I'm sure there may be some. There's gotta be. We have all walks of life on this game, but not every single one of them. You can't take an online course for 5 minutes, watch a YouTube video, and say, I'm a professional hypnotist. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. But it still can work because of the placebo. Because somebody wants to feel that phantom sense so badly that they think the hypnotist will work. And then it does. Even though it really doesn't, it does. It's very confusing. It's very amazing. I love it. Oh, love it. I actually want to end this video with a final thing that obviously not everyone in this game has phantom sense, and that's a very common thing. It's common to have, it's common not to have, and it's common to fake. So, even if you don't have it, doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You don't need to have it to have fun in this game. I mean, it's such a minor part of this game. There's so much more you can do. So don't worry about it. You're great how you are. And if you do have phantom sense and if you don't want it, I'm sorry. I know there are people who do have training and they have trained themselves to lose their phantom sense. You need to find that barrier for yourself to make that disconnect that this isn't your body so you can't feel it. And I'm rooting for you. You've got this. Lose that phantom sense. Gain that phantom sense. Don't care. Whatever you want to do it, and I'll be on your side. With that note, though, that's pretty much all I had today. Question of the week is if you have phantom sense. If you did, how did you discover it? If you don't, do you think you'll ever get it, or do you want it? Do you think it's fake? Answer down below. Hope you enjoyed today's video. As usual, drink your water, eat your broccoli, and have a good day. See y'all next week, everybody.